Hi. So, thank you all so much for joining us today on what is an absolutely beautiful day. Should be hearing some lovely music coming through on your earphones now. Right, so we are A Million Ads, and we are the dynamic creative experts. What that means is we deliver data-driven ads which each connect personally with our audiences. But don't worry, this isn't another sales pitch. In fact, today we're going to go old school. Remember when we were kids and we used to sit around and listen to stories? No visuals, no distractions, a place where we could listen, laugh, and learn. A place where we could create high-speed car chases. Or a place where we could be transported to faraway lands. Imagine it. Or even a place where we could just sit in front of a roaring fire and listen to our stories. Well, today we're going to do just that. So what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes, put your blindfolds on, use your headphones, and I'm going to take you on a bit of an audio journey. Right. Everyone okay? Yeah? Feels weird, doesn't it? Like we're somehow a little bit more vulnerable. And that's because as soon as we remove all of those visual distractions, audio starts to feel almost intimate. But you understand this because just last year, we listened to over 15 billion hours of podcasts, and that is the most intimate medium there is. Why? Because we crave this connection, this feeling that's bringing us all together. And whether you're listening to audio via a spoken word or a podcast or a piece of music, audio has this amazing ability to not just teach us about the world around us, but to teach us about ourselves. So what I want you to do is I want you to really think about a piece of audio that stuck with you in your life. Maybe it was a podcast on your favorite road trip, or perhaps it's your favorite song. For me, it was my first ever breakup song. And every time I hear this song, I'm transported back into my teenage bedroom, feeling all those feelings of anxiety and fear, and wondering if I will ever love again. I did find love again, don't worry. But why did I listen to this track? Because when we listen to audio, we're looking for an extension of our rhythm, an extension of our mood. And so as brands, we need to understand how people are feeling so that we can better inject ourselves into their brand stories. However, it's not just about that. What I want you to do is I want you to picture a nail. Really visualize that nail. Now, hands up those of you who pictured a fingernail. And hands up those of you who pictured a nail used for hammering and DIY. Right. Now, there's a good mix in the audience, and what you visualize doesn't just depend on who you are or how you were raised. It's actually very much based on your context. So perhaps you walked past a nail bar on your way in today, or perhaps you were doing DIY this weekend. You see, I don't know each and every one of you, but I can already start to use what I do know about your context to start to paint a bit of a picture about you. So for example, let's take today. We know it's a Tuesday, it's the first day of MadFest, everyone's really buzzed to be here, some people might already be on the booze. It's still early enough in the week that we've got that energy going, and some of you might have children, so you might have a summer holiday coming up. Some of you might have just been on a summer holiday. How am I doing, right? I'm kind of right, aren't I? Yet, this is all based on your contextual preferences. But the way in which we tell a story is, of course, influenced by who your audience is. But we have to speak to different people depending on who we're speaking to, right? But I would speak very differently to how I would speak to your mummy and daddy. Do you see what I did there? That was essentially the exact same statement repeated in 3 different ways. Not just the language that I used, but the way in which I said it. And that is why it's really important to think about the way in which we say things.
Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men,
Pause,
with machine minds and machine hearts.
intonation.
You are not
All
machines.
of these
You are
impact
not
not just what we want to say, but how we want the other person to feel. And that's why when we're thinking about brands, we need to really pay attention to who is speaking our brand story. And that is, of course, your voiceover.
Did you know the majority of your brain is fat?
Now, some of you might have believed that statement, but how about now?
Did you know the majority of your brain is fat?
Now, most of you actually would have believed that statement the second time round. And not just because the statement was repeated, but actually because the more our natural accent differs from the RP or Queen's English accent, according to University of Chicago studies, the less likely a statement is perceived to be. So what should we do? Should we walk around and adjust our accent according to who we're speaking to, or should we all speak in an RP accent? Just like I have changed my very Dutch South African accent for all of you English people here today. Well, actually, although in places like Manchester, they absolutely love hearing their own voices and their own accents across their audio advertising, in places like Bristol and Birmingham, they prefer to hear that RP or Queen's English style accent. So, we need to bear this in mind when we're thinking about that. However, there's something else that's been happening. How relaxed are you all feeling right now? Probably very relaxed, and that's because the music has been specifically designed to make you feel that way. And music has this incredible power to not just impact your mood, but to create tension and also to create those connections with people. Now you might think, okay, well, surely if someone likes the music track that they're listening to, they're automatically going to connect. But actually, Taylor Swift's Shake It Off would sound a little bit weird in a horror movie where someone's just about to get slashed.
I stay out too late. Got nothing in my brain. That's what people say.
So it's really important, as our old pal from BBH, Sir John Hegarty, once said, we need to ensure that the music follows that creative story. And this will lead to those long-lasting brand associations. Why? Because on the left-hand side of the brain is what stores all of our memory. And this is the side of the brain that lights up when listening to audio. But we know this because think about nursery rhymes or the alphabet song. Everything that we do, we try and use music to remember. And so we worked with Listerine on the launch of their new Go Tabs, which was essentially a mouthwash in a tablet. So obviously something that's very strange, very new to the market. And what we did was we decided we needed to teach people not only how to use the product, but also to ensure that they remembered the different places to use it. So we combined data to call out different moments that they could be using the product, as well as a repetitive jingle which consistently showcased how to use the product. And of course, it worked brilliantly.
Listerine presents the Go Tabs Guide to Refresh My Feeling Before That All-Important Meeting. Look at you, on the go. You're such a go-getter. Did you bring your Go Tabs?
Go what?
Go Tabs, the on-the-go tabs that turn into liquid. You'll have noticeably fresher breath for up to 4 hours. Quick, take one, now. Chew it, swish it, swallow it,
Chew it, swish it, swallow it,
Chew it, chew it, chew it, chew it, chew it, swish it, swallow it, Chew it, swish it, swallow it,
New Listerine Go Tab.
The must-have for a meeting.
And I apologize in advance if that gets stuck in your head. Now, sonic logos, which are a brief sequence of notes that make up a brand, are not something new. They're something that have been used loads in the past. Why? Because it creates the visual to audio transfer, which essentially means every time you hear that sonic logo, you're able to visualize the brand. So this is amazing for advertisers who are previously only visual-only brands. And let's see how many of these you guys are able to picture in your minds.
Did somebody say just eat?
Now, although obviously consistency is important for the brand, we also know that over half of us get annoyed when hearing the same ad twice. And this is the cause of ad fatigue. So what do? We combine data to ensure that you're always hearing a different ad with something that is consistent, like a sonic logo or the same repetitive voiceover. Now, there's something else that has been happening, something that is kind of sitting above what I'm saying and above the music that's starting to make you feel even more relaxed. And that is, of course, seagulls transporting you to holidays, summers by the coast and happier times. However, as I'm speaking, something else is happening, something that's creating a bit more tension, something that reminds you of work and where actually are we, and we're back in London, it's really stressful and it's freaking everybody out. This is the power of sound effects, the power of the theatre of the mind. And although subtle, they can be used in such effective ways. But there's something outside of sound effects as well that a lot of entertainment clients use, and that is snippets from the actual movie or from an actual TV show. Now, when we think about dynamic creative, we can actually take that one step further, bringing your local hero closer to the person who's listening. So, for example, imagine Captain America calling out your local pub in Slough. And this is something we've been working with Disney on, where for their new film Mulan, we combined the data with some of those snippets from the film, and we saw that over half of the people who heard the ad went straight out to listen and watch it.
I'm Hua Mulan. I will bring honor to us all.
Make your Friday feel even more like Friday with Disney's incredible adventure, Mulan.
Loyal, brave, true.
The spirit is evident.
Download and keep to watch on your mobile.
We are under attack.
Ancestors, watch over my daughter Mulan.
A special treat for a movie.
So what about our story then? Well, our story very much involves you. And as I said, we don't need to know a lot about you except around your context. Now, weather is of course a hot topic, whether we're deciding what to do on the weekend or whether we're choosing between an ice cream on a hot day or a gooey chocolate brownie on a cold day. But actually, weather has the power to impact huge purchasing decisions, like what type of house we buy, what type of car we buy, and even showing that we're willing to spend more than 60% more on a gym membership just because it's sunny. So we need to consider this in the way that we tell our brand stories. And on top of that is, of course, seasonal weather. So for example, if there's snowfall in October, we might want to start thinking about people feeling more festive and thus wanting to go out there and purchase. The other thing, of course, is time, date, day. Even the length of this presentation is probably starting to get to some people. So we need to consider this in our data. And Johnson & Johnson do this by really tapping into moments and using this as a key part of all of their advertising. And on top of that, of course, is location. Whether we're using it to call out someone's local park or whether we're using it in a direct call to store message, location should be key to all your brand stories. So now that I've given you some context and I've explained why context is so important, let's go right back to the beginning. We are A Million Ads, and we create data-driven ads that help you guys connect with your audiences and sell your stuff. So that is our story. Come and find me after and we can work together to tell yours. Thank you.
Kim, that's amazing. I feel like I've had like a meditative immersion in this like last 20 minutes. Talk us through what's like how do brands normally engage? Is it a specific brief or is it a more general conversation that you have as a starting point?
It's a little bit of both, really. We're always open to having a conversation. So if you have a brief, come and chat to us. If you're interested in how we can come up with ideas for any future brands and innovation, then we're happy to have those conversations as well.
Cool. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you, everyone.